to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, certainly. Judge Kraft,
Here.
Judge Lauterbach,
Here.
Judge Hudson, Judge Harvey,
Here.
Dina McCullough,
Here.
okay, Stancil Ford,
Here.
Veronica Thornton.
Here.
You have a quorum, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right. Do I have a motion from someone on the committee about our determination of necessity?
Well, actually, Judge Kraft, if I can, this is.
You want to read that statement first?
Yes, sir. If I could do that.
All right, Ben.
Thank you. Oh, do you want to?
I think we have Judge Hudson joining us.
You do. Good morning.
Good morning, Ty. Just call the meeting to order. You're just in time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
We'll make sure the record reflects that Judge Hudson is now present.
Thank you. All right, Mr. McCullough.
Thank you, Judge Kraft. Good morning, members of the council. TCA 8-44-108B2 states that if a physical quorum is not present at the location of a meeting of a governing body, then in order for a quorum of members to participate by electronic or other means of communication, the governing body must make a determination that a necessity exists. Such determination and a recitation of the facts and circumstances on which it was based must be included in the minutes of the meeting. Furthermore, TCA 8-44-108A3 defines a necessity as matters to be considered by the governing body at the meeting, require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. The purpose of today's meeting via teleconference is to discuss the rulemaking process as it relates to the Private Probation Services Council and the military applicant procedure adopted by the legislature, and also to have the council adopt Robert's Rules of Order, set the dates for the remainder of the 2014 council schedule, update the council on the budget, and provide the council's administrative report since the previous meeting. And at this time, I'll turn it back over to Judge Kraft.
If any member would make such a motion.
I make that motion.
You will need to read that. Do you have that paperwork in front of you? Read the statement of necessity.
Just because you're asking me,
Yes. Whoever's making the motion.
Yes.
I don't have what he just read.
No. I need a member. If you have the paperwork that was sent, at the top it says 10 a.m. on Friday, March 7, 2014. If a member would make a motion reading the statement at the bottom of the page verbatim.
This is Dina McCullough. I make that motion.
All right.
And these matters require timely action, and a physical presence by quorum this council is not practical within the period of time requiring action, as the council's next regularly scheduled meeting is not expected to be held until June 2014. As such, participation by a quorum of the members telephonically is necessary.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Could I, when you make your motions, if you could state your name as well, please?
All right, and that was Dina McCullough, and who is the second?
Judge Lauterbach, I second that motion.
Thank you, Judge. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Due to the teleconference, all votes must be done by roll call.
That's fine. If you'll call the roll, please, on the motion.
Certainly. Judge Kraft,
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Judge Harvey,
Aye.
Dina McCullough,
Aye.
Stancil Ford,
Aye.
Veronica Thornton.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The motion carries. Ms. Whaley, you want to discuss the notice of the meeting being posted?
Yes, sir. This meeting's date, time, and location have been noticed on the Private Probation Service Council's website. Additionally, the agenda for this month's meeting has been posted on the Private Probation Service Council's website since February 24th, 2014. This meeting was also noticed on TN.gov's public meeting calendar.
Thank you very much. All right, you all have received a copy of the agenda that you have reviewed. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
I so move. John Hudson. I second that, Judge Lauterbach.
All right, call. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Judge Lauterbach.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? All right, let's call the roll on the vote, please.
Judge Kraft,
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Judge Harvey,
Aye.
Dina McCullough,
Aye.
Stancil Ford,
Aye.
Veronica Thornton.
Aye.
It was unanimous, Chairman.
The agenda is adopted. Next item is the minutes from the June 7th, 2013 meeting, which you've all received. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Gina McCullough, I move the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second, Judge Lauterbach.
Any discussion, additions, or deletions? All right, call the roll on the motion, please.
Yes. Judge Kraft?
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach?
Aye.
Judge Hudson?
Aye.
Judge Harvey?
Aye.
Dina McCullough?
Aye.
Stancil Ford?
Aye.
Veronica Thornton?
Aye.
All right,
Unanimous, sir.
the minutes are adopted.
And I will be sending those to Judge Kraft and Judge Lauterbach for signature. I'll send it to one if you'll send it back to me, and then I'll send you the second person the copy to sign.
All right, thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is our meeting dates. You have before you a sheet showing our next meeting dates is June the 6th, September the 5th, and December the 5th. Do I hear a motion to adopt and approve those dates?
I move we adopt those dates, Judge Lauterbach.
Second, John Hudson.
Any discussion? Call the roll on the motion, please.
Judge Kraft?
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach?
Aye.
Judge Hudson?
Aye.
Judge Harvey?
Aye.
Dina McCullough?
Aye.
Stancil Ford?
Aye.
Veronica Thornton?
Aye.
Unanimous, Chairman.
Thank you. All right, is Bill Giannini with you?
Yes, sir, he is.
Mr. Giannini, would you please present the budget?
Good morning, Chairman and members. First of all, I want to say on behalf of the governor and the commissioner and the citizens of the great state of Tennessee, we appreciate your commitment to efficient and effective government by conducting this telephonic meeting. You all should have a copy of your year-end close for fiscal year 12-13 in front of you. Do you have that?
I do. We were all sent it.
Okay, I'm going to very quickly run through this. Feel free to stop at any point to ask questions if you need to. I'm going to try to make this as quickly as possible. If you'll look at the top, and you've got 4 columns, starting with fiscal year 9-10 all the way over to fiscal year 12-13, you'll notice at the top regular salaries and wages for fiscal year 12-13 were $8,046. Total payroll expenditures were $11,732. You'll drop the next line, then we move into your other expenses. Your travel was $1,006. That was down significantly from previous years. Again, thanks to your efficient and effective commitment. And if you'll drop down to grand total, you'll notice that your total expenditures were $40,060. You can see those down beneath the grand total line. Also want to point out to you just above that, we've pulled out your legal costs now so you can see those. So your board's legal costs for the last year were $14,089. If you'll drop down, then you see net revenue of $130,455, leaving your fiscal year balance at $90,394. Added to your prior fiscal year reserve, you now have in your reserve account $396,389.
Thank you very much.
Do you all have any questions?
If I could say one thing on behalf of the council, and I don't think anyone's going to make a motion to do anything about it this time, but at some point when we first made our rules, we had been going for several years. The committee had not met, and then they appointed some dedicated individuals to be on it. And we set some fees and rules, and we were about probably $120,000 in the hole at one point, and in fact we're going to be sunsetted. But we convinced the oversight committee to let us keep going for a couple of years until we built it back. And we are charging right now, I think, $1 a quarter per inmate, per probationer. And we said that at some point when we had a surplus that we would maybe consider revisiting that. I know with lean times right now, we're not going to do that. But at some point, Mr. Giannini, we're thinking that we might ought to lower the cost to the people on probation if we continue to build a surplus to where we're just holding our own. And I know I discussed that with you last year, and we said, well, we're going to have to wait until all this fiscal calamity in the economy works itself out. But that's still our intent at some point, but not just right now.
Right.
We always promised that every year when we got a surplus, we would at least mention that at some point in the future, we may assess less to the probation providers so that they in turn will assess less to the people that are on probation.
Well, and I think you've had 4 consistent years now of where your license revenue looks to be around $130,000. You're consistently putting a considerable amount of money into your reserve fund. So I think it's absolutely a responsible time to look at and discuss that as a board.
All right.
This is Dina McCullough. I'd like to ask this. Is there a system in place that we could verify that the offender is actually not being charged that money and not that the companies are just simply bumping their profit up by that amount?
I'm going to defer to our legal counsel on that.
Well, and I'll say this too: the probation company is the one that is supposed to pay it, and they're supposed to collect it from the offender. So I guess we're right now in the honor system. Mr. McCullough, you have a comment you want to make on that?
No, I was just curious.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's something that I think when we discussed it, we are assessing the probation company that dollar per person on their rolls, and then they in turn are collecting it or supposed to collect it from the probationer. And if they're over assessing, then hopefully a probationer would file a complaint and let us know.
Yes, sir. So they would do that through rulemaking?
Yeah.
We would have to change our rules once we built up a surplus, because for 3 or 4 years we're operating at a deficit until we could get all the problems worked out and get all the companies that were not doing the right things to either change or leave. And now I think it's a lot smoother now, and it takes less work. So.
And just within the past 2 weeks, we've actually spoke to the legislature, to the GovOps committee about reserve fund balances among all of our regulatory programs, and they very strongly encourage all boards with a consistent track record of surpluses to review that and discuss that and have some meaningful discussion about whether or not their fee is adequate, or that it's is it time to reduce that fee, or to in cases where it's not, to raise the fee, but certainly to have the discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your budget discussion, Mr. Genie. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, Mr. McDonough, you want to discuss the military applicant rules that have been passed?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. The purpose of the presentation today that deals with the military applicant rules deals with Public Chapter 122, and it's really I believe it was included in your handouts, and there are really 4 sections in the public chapter that specifically apply to regulatory boards, and so I'll just go over a little overview of Public Chapter 122. If you'll see in Section 2 of the public chapter that deals specifically with military spouses, and it states that Public Chapter 122 requires regulatory boards to establish procedures to expedite issuance of a license, certificate, or permit for an individual who, 1, is certified or licensed to perform services in a state other than Tennessee, 2, that their spouse is a member of the armed forces, 3, that their spouse is subject to military transfer to Tennessee, and 4, that the individual left employment to accompany their spouse to Tennessee. And the next section that would apply, let me see, it's also under Section 2, would apply to former members of the military, and it states that an individual who is a member of the armed forces who carries a license or certification in a state other than Tennessee that applies for a license or permit in Tennessee within 180 days of retiring from the armed forces, receiving any discharge other than a dishonorable discharge from the armed forces, or being released from active duty into a reserve position. And next, if you move on to section 4, and that deals with the education that would be required for an individual that's seeking to be licensed here in Tennessee by the council. And basically it states that the council may accept military education, training, or experience completed toward the qualifications to receive the license or certification if the council determines that that it is substantially equivalent to the standards of the state. And finally, on the last page, which is under section 6, it's a section that applies to active duty personnel. And basically, if the license, certification, or permit expires while an individual is on active duty status, the individual is eligible to renew the license, certification, or permit upon release from active duty without payment of late fees or penalties, obtaining continuing education when circumstances prevented, obtaining credits and a waiver request was properly submitted, or the person performs the occupation as part of a military duty and provides documentation to support that, or performing any other act typically required for renewal of license or certification. The renewal shall be permitted up to 6 months from a release date from the active duty, and the individual is required to provide supporting documentation evidencing activation as may be required by the council. And so basically what the legislature has asked us to do with this public chapter is basically to streamline a process that would enable individuals that fit within these categories to be able to have an easier time of being approved for licensure or registration for the different boards within the regulatory boards. But upon reviewing all of these requirements, the Private Probation Council really, for the most part, just registers corporations. However, there is a section in the application that allows for sole proprietors to apply for registration here with the council. So based upon that being on the application, we felt that it was necessary to move forward with the rulemaking process and to basically pass these new rules by the private probation. So the purpose of today's meeting is basically to get the board's permission to move forward with that process.
All right, and to get the rules, because you have to have hearings and things like that before you can pass rules.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What, do you need a motion to start that? Just
Yes, sir. Just to have permission from the board, just a motion.
and that will authorize you to work up the language that we need to amend our rules to be.
Yes, sir.
And then get it started to get it all approved. Is that what you need?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I move that the board authorize the whichever office. Are you AG's office or comptroller's office? Hello?
Just here with the regulatory boards.
Okay. I move that the board authorize the appropriate persons to draft the language and start the rulemaking process to amend the rules to comply with that statute.
And that.
And for the record, you are Judge Lauderback.
Judge Lauderback.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman Kraft.
And is there a second?
I second that.
And you are Judge Hudson?
This is Commissioner
Stansel.
Ford.
I'm sorry, Commissioner. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm trying to. My phone is not that good. Any discussion on the motion? All right, call the roll on the motion, please.
Judge Kraft.
Aye.
Judge Lauderback.
Aye.
Judge Hudson.
Aye.
Judge Harvey.
Aye.
Dina McCullough.
Aye.
Stansel Ford.
Aye.
Veronica Thornton.
Aye.
Well, that motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, last on the agenda is our administrative report, Ms. Whaley.
Yes, sir. In the packet that I sent you yesterday, I included your latest budget numbers with your revenues and your expenses. And that was just informational purposes if anyone has any questions about it. Currently, your revenue as of January was $67,641, and your expenses year to date are $12,049.
Thank you very much. Is there any question about the administrative report?
I do have two tiny little other matters.
All right.
I know in previous meetings, the department set up a email server that allows you to receive notification regarding rulemaking hearings, various matters, if a legislative matter passes at the end of the year, and any special notices such as this meeting was noticed via Notify. I don't know if all the members have signed up, but I encourage you to. If you have questions about it, certainly feel free to reach out to me and I can provide you with all the details on
What do
how
we have to do for that?
you go to Notify TN and sign up. And you just enter your email address.
Notify what?
Notify TN. I'll send out a link to it
Okay.
after the meeting so that
That will
everyone
help
has it.
Thank you.
You'll guide me through?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Judges don't make very good bureaucrats, so we need some help.
I am happy to help any way that I can. And also, earlier this week, in an email, I included your conflict of interest statements. Did everyone receive that email?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. If you all could sign those and either fax or email those back to me,
Will do.
that would be wonderful.
Can we
Back
just
to
make-
back yesterday.
Yes, I received Judge Harvey's, I believe.
No.
Oh, Judge Hudson? Okay.
Judge Hudson.
If you're missing anybody, let me know and we'll hunt them down and get them into you.
Okay, wonderful. One other tiny matter, Robert's rules. The legal suggests that we adopt those each year.
I move we adopt Robert's Rules of Orders as the rules we adopt for our parliamentary procedure in our meetings.
Says Judge
Judge
Lauterbach.
Lauterbach.
Is there a second?
Second, Judge Hudson.
Any discussion? Call the roll on the motion, please.
Judge Kraft,
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Judge Harvey,
Aye.
Dina McCullough,
Aye.
Stancil Ford,
Aye.
Veronica Thornton. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other little things you want to handle?
That is it for me today.
Does anyone else on the council have any new or old business?
Chairman.
Well, again, I want to ask for direction on this. My term expires this August, and I will not be seeking reappointment. I don't know if I need to notify somebody officially of that, or just let my term expire. Ms. Whaley, do you have any direction on that?
That I can seek guidance on how to alert the governor's office. They handle keeping all of the boards fully staffed, so I will ask the assistant commissioner's office exactly how and who you should make aware of that, and I will email that information to you.
Well, actually, Dina, it's not your obligation to make anyone aware of it. It's our obligation to make sure that someone is appointed to take your place, and that's going to be hard to find. So, but thank you for your years of service on this council.
Well, I wanted to make it known because I'm a charter member, and
I understand.
since it's so no one would assume that I'm going to continue to fill that position, that they could make someone aware to be.
Thank you. I know when we all re-upped a little while back, we all had to give notice that we needed to be re-upped, and so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, any other business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn, Judge Lauterbach.
And I don't think we need a second. Is anyone objecting to adjourning? All right, we're going to show this meeting adjourned, and thank y'all, everyone, for calling in.
Thank you
Wait,
very much.
everybody, hang on one second.
Yes?
I think we probably need to do a roll call vote on that
Okay,
just
let's
to
roll
just to
call.
be sure.
Call the roll, please, on the motion to adjourn.
Judge Kraft,
Aye.
Judge Lauterbach,
Aye.
Judge Hudson,
Aye.
Judge Harvey,
Aye.
Dina McCullough,
Aye.
Stancil Ford,
Aye.
Veronica Thornton.
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you, council members.
Thank you, Ms. Whaley.
Thank you for your help, and thank you, Judge Kraft, for conducting the meeting.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Thank
Have
you.
a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Judge Kraft,
Yes,
you were up in my neck of the woods just this week.
that's right. I was in Dandridge with Louis.